Dear all, welcome to the class of International Economics. Today we are discussing factor price equalization theory. In the last video, we have already discussed what is Hexter-Ohlin theory. There we have also said that factor price equalization theory is also part of Hexter-Ohlin theory, or it is a corollary of HO theory. So today we will be discussing what is this factor price equalization theory, and also we will explain graphically how it works. So the factor price equalization theorem, it is rigorously proved by Paul Samuelson. You might have heard his name, Paul Samuelson. So he also has contributed to this, not the Hexter-Ohlin. I mean, Hexter-Ohlin also has contributed, but besides that, Paul Samuelson also has contributed to the factor price equalization theorem. That's why it is referred as HOS theory, or Hexter-Ohlin-Samuelson theory. And it holds only if HO theory holds. Factor price equalization theory holds true only if HO theory holds true, or if HO theory works. That's why we are saying that it is a corollary to HO theory. It means that it is a part of HO theory itself. That's why we have said that there are two core theorems in HO theory. Okay, so we can explain it, but before going to the factor price equalization, just brush up what we have said in HO theory. What was the HO theory? What is the main, what is the core crux of HO theory? HO theory says a nation will export the commodity whose production requires the intensive use of nation's abundant and cheap factor, and import the commodity whose production requires nation's scarce and expensive factor. This is the idea of HO theory. So according to HO, one labor abundant nation will export labor intensive commodities and import capital intensive commodities. Capital abundant nation will export capital intensive commodity and import labor intensive commodities. Okay, now we can take the example of capital abundant country. Okay, how we can say one country is capital abundant? We can say in two terms. We have already discussed. So if you have any doubts, you can just check the previous video. Okay, one country is said capital abundant in two terms. One is in quantity of factors, another is factor prices. Quantity terms, we can say TK divided by TL is greater than in one country than another country, then that country is capital abundant. Or we said that the R by W of that nation is lower than the other nation, then also it is capital abundant. So the main feature of capital abundant nation is capital is abundant and it is also cheap. Cheap means its price is very low. What is the rental price of capital? That is very low. That's why the R is very low in that country. So if according to HO theory, if the trade happens, what the capital abundant nation will do? They will specialize in commodity Y, which is a capital intensive commodity, and they will export it. Right? They will specialize in commodity Y, capital intensive commodity, and they will export it. Then obviously the demand for Y, or the demand for capital will be increased. because Y is a capital intensive commodity. So to produce that capital intensive commodity, more capital is required. So the demand for capital will be increased. Okay, if the demand for capital is increased, automatically the rental price of capital also will be increased. Okay, so before the trade the R was low, but after the trade R is going up. Same kind of changes also happen in the price of Y. What was the price of Y in a capital abundant nation? Price of Y will be less because it is made with capital intensive techniques and capital is abundant there. But now after the trade, it has more demand. Even from the foreign country it has demand. So the demand is high. So the price of the Y also will be going up. So two changes are occurring. There is a changes in the rental price of capital, and also there is a changes in the a commodity price of Y. Now, if you're taking the labor abundant country, labor is abundant, we can say in two terms. Either it can be measured through the quantity of factors like TK divided by TL. TK divided by TL will be less compared to other country if it is a labor abundant nation, or R by W will be higher. Okay, R by W will be higher compared to another country because R will be high and wages will be very small. So the R by W value will be high. But one thing you should remember, that the wages will be low. Why it is low? Because labor is very cheap. We have said that. So labor is very cheap. That's why the W is very low at first period. But if the trade happens, what will happen? They will concentrate, they will specialize in the production of X, which is a labor intensive commodity, and they will produce more. If they want to produce more X, they demand more labor. More labor is required. If they demand more labor, automatically the wages will go up. Okay, wages was very low before the trade, but now it has gone up. So there is a changes in the factor prices, and also what will happen to the price of X. It was a labor abundant country, so they can produce X at cheap rate, and the price was very low. But now after the trade, the price of X has gone up. So there is a changes in the factor prices, and there is a changes in the commodity prices. So this is happening after the trade. So we can say that international trade causes W to rise in nation 1, which was a low wage nation, and fall in nation 2 because there is no much demand for labor there, high wage nation, reducing the pre-trade difference in wages between the nations. So the difference is becoming very small, or it is nil, we can say. That's why the factor price will be equalized. Then secondly, similarly, trade causes R to fall in nation 1. R doesn't have, capital doesn't have much demand now. So the R fall in nation 1, which is a capital expensive nation, and rise in nation 2, which is a capital cheap nation, reducing the pre-trade difference in R between nations. Okay, so through this way, international trade causes a redistribution of income from relatively expensive and scarce factor to relatively cheap and abundant factor. So through the trade, who is getting benefit? Whose return is going up? Abundant factors return is going up because they are demanded more. Okay. So and also there is a changes. International trade keep expanding until the relative commodity prices are completely equalized. Okay, so the price will go up. If the price was low before the trade, price will go up, and the price also will be equalized in both nations. So two changes are happening at the same time. Okay, so this is the idea of factor price equalization. A factor price equalization theorem says international trade will bring about equalization in relative and absolute return to homogeneous factors across nations. So the factors price or the returns will be equalized in absolute terms, also in relative terms. Okay, it is a substitute for international mobility of factors. So if the factor price is equalized, there is no any possibility of international mobility of factors. Suppose some of your relative or your relative might be abroad. Why they are going abroad? Because they are getting high wages there or high salary there. Suppose that if the salary is same here and any other country, if you are taking in rupees, is there any possibility to go there? Whether they will go there? No, they will be staying here only. So if according to HO theory, the trade will lead to the factor price equalization, and it is a substitute for international mobility of factors. So there is no any possibility of migration or moving of one factor from one place to another places. Okay. So wages and other factor return will be the same after the specialization and trade is occurred. So we can explain how through the graphical, using the graph, we can explain what is how the relative factor and price equalization occurs. So here you can see that there is a x axis and y axis. In the x axis we are showing W by R, which is nothing but the relative price of factors. Okay, in the y axis we are showing px divided by py, which is relative commodity prices. Okay, now you can see that okay. So suppose that country 1, which was a labor abundant country. Okay, so we are taking the labor abundant country's case at first, and labor abundant country, their position is A in the graph, which is the factor prices is W by R1 in country 1. Okay, before the trade, suppose before the trade their factor prices are W by R of R1, and px divided by px divided by py is PA. Okay, so after the trade, what will happen? It is a labor abundant nation. They are specializing in commodity X, so they will produce more X. Demand for labor will be increased, the wages will go up, right? So the wages will go up. If the wages going up, what will happen to the W by R of 1? It will also go up. So they will move to the W by R star. So their W by R or the relative price will be, relative factor price will be increased to W by R star. Okay, then what will happen for the commodity prices? Commodity prices is Px divided by Py. Okay, so the commodity prices Px divided by Py, before the trade Px was cheap. It means that its price was very low, but after the trade Px has increased because there is high demand for X. So if it is increasing, So from PA the country will move to PB. So ultimately labor abundant nation will move from A to B. Okay, so this is all about the country 1 or labor abundant nation. So secondly, if the country is capital abundant, their relative factor prices will be W by R2 before the trade. Now if the trade happens, the demand for Y will be increased, you know that. So the demand for capital also will be increased. So the rental price will be increased. Rental price will be increased. So if the rental price is increased, what will happen to the total value of W by R? It will be decreased because denominator is increasing. So automatically there will be change in W by R, and they will also move to W by R star. It will come down. The W by R2 will be coming down and they will move to W by R star. Okay, then what will happen to the their commodity prices? Their commodity prices also Px divided by Py. Okay, so here the Py will be increasing because there is a high demand for that. So if the Py is increasing, the total value will be coming down. Total value will be coming down. So from PA dash, this PA dash, they will moving to the PB dash. Okay, so ultimately the second country will be moving from A dash to B dash. A dash to B dash. So both the countries will be coming to B or B dash. There the factor price is equalized and also the commodity price is equalized. Okay, so in the both cases there is changes in the factor prices, and ultimately it leads to equalization of factor prices and also the equalization of commodity prices. That's why you may remember in HO theory we have said that after the trade we are drawing only one price line for both nations. Okay, I think okay, here I can show you that. HO theory, we have explained that only in the first picture you can see that there are two price lines because price of commodities are different. But in the second graph, after the trade, both countries have one line which is PB. Why this only one line? Because the price of two countries for different products also same. That's why we have only one price line. Okay, so through the factor price equalization, factor prices are equalized and also commodity prices are equalized. Okay, and there are some other contributors also to the factor price equalization theory. Hicks, Lerner, Kindleberger and Soderstein, all these have also contributed to factor price equalization theorem in different way. Okay, so the references for this factor price equalization and also HO theory, I think Dominic Salvatore will be enough for you. So if you want to refer more, the way the Ranan Verma will be useful for you. I hope this class is clear for you. Thank you very much. See you in the next video.